So, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I've met, I think, probably the majority of you guys already, but for those of you that don't know me, my name's Amy. I'm the National Programmes and Partnerships Manager at Coach Core Foundation. Most importantly, really delighted to introduce England Lioness and Man City Ladies Captain Steph Houghton. Hi, Steph.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And Steph is an absolutely amazing ambassador for Coach Core. But outside of Coach Core, probably the much more important part of Steph's role. 120 caps now, is it, Steph, for England that you've got?
Yeah, I think so.
Not that you're counting or anything. We'll count them for you. And obviously some absolutely amazing achievements with Man City, WSL title, Continental Cup successes, FA Cup successes. So we are absolutely delighted that you're here with us today, Steph, and thank you so much for taking the time out of what is probably a very busy schedule to spend your afternoon with us. But before we kick off, I thought it would be really nice if everyone on the call could just introduce who you are and where you're working, so we get a bit of context behind today's session.
So I'm Chloe. I'm on an apprenticeship with Coach Core at the moment, and I'm working with Leeds United Foundation as a football coach.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm currently an apprentice working at Maidenhead United for a community scheme to help inspire young kids get into football, basically.
I'm Alice, and I'm a Coach Core apprentice, and I work at Esterfield Football Club Community Trust, helping children in the communities at schools, but also the main thing that I work on at the minute is kids with disabilities and helping them feel a part of something and using football to help them connect.
My name is Jamie. I work for Argyle Community Trust in Plymouth, and I was an ex-apprentice doing health and disability coaching.
Hi everyone, my name is Juaria and I'm an apprentice with Coach Core, but I work with Yorkshire Sport Foundation and we're partnered with the LS14 Trust, and I'm working on multiple other projects, and alongside of that I am soon going to start a football coaching course with the FA.
Steph, if I can come back to you to kind of kick us off, it would be great. Just to kind of start the conversation, really, it'd be just, I'm just intrigued to hear a little bit more about how it all began for you. What was the start of your journey, and how did you get into football in the first place?
Yeah, it seems pretty long ago now, but yeah, I think obviously coming from the northeast, it's obviously everybody loves their football up there, and I'm actually a Sunderland supporter. I know that there was somebody that was working working for Newcastle, but yeah, I think ultimately I come from a big sporting family. My dad absolutely loves football, and I think as soon as I could run, it was kind of like trying to get a ball at my feet. And I think it was 4 or 5 when I really started to take an interest in playing football. And obviously back then when I was growing up, there wasn't any girls teams. And I was fortunate enough to, in my school, I think the teachers really recognised that I had a little bit of talent, and we loved playing any sort of sports. It wasn't just football, it was cricket, it was netball, basketball, athletics, and they managed to make a mixed team for football, which was one of my first ever teams. So I was fortunate enough to play for them. And in the Easter holidays, I'm sure a lot of you have worked on when the schools are off, doing little training camps for kids. And I think my mum just went, "Oh, Steph, you just need to get out the house. I need to get you out the house for two days on the Easter holidays. I had enough of you." So I went to a Sunderland Easter school where I first got scouted for Sunderland at the age of 9, I think it was. And there was me and my best mate Lauren that used to go to these schools with loads of lads and just play games basically for 2 days. So, and being a Sunderland supporter, to have a chance to go and play for your hometown club and the club that you support, kind of you just say, oh my God, girls football is going to get so big hopefully over the next few years. So I've managed to get scouted for their centre of excellence, which was like a dream come true to me, and was able to play there for until I was 13, I think it was. And I then actually got told that I was going to be playing for the first team at the age of 13. So that wouldn't happen now because you have to be over 16 to play. But back then it was kind of like, because the pool of players was so small, and if you were pretty good, you got a chance of playing first team football at that young age. And I was playing with women who were 30, 32, and at the time it's pretty scary, but at the same time would never have changed it for the world today, because it's kind of made us a better player and a better person, learning off them types of people. And yeah, fortunate enough to play for Sunderland for 4 years, and I moved when I was 18, and at that time I think I'd made my England debut by the age of 17, which was obviously, you don't ever expect it. You just want to play for Sunderland, and to be given the chance to go and play for your country and impress at such a young age was obviously unbelievable. And you can always kind of remember that call up, and the day that you play or you come off the bench to go and make your debut was such a amazing feeling, and more for my family more than for me, I think. And pretty much my career from then's kind of just gone on and kind of gone upwards, in the sense of I've played for clubs like Leeds, Arsenal, and obviously now I'm at Man City, where it's now my job. I'm professional. I train every single day, and I'm so fortunate enough to be in that position. And obviously we spoke about my caps for England. To be able to play that many times for your country is something that I'm just like, oh my God, I've actually done that. And I've played in World Cups, I've played in European Championships, I've played in Olympics 2012, which was unbelievable in London. And yeah, and to be named captain, it's obviously a massive honour.
How influential do you think your early coaches were in terms of that early part of your development?
Oh, they're massive. I mean, even just before this call, we were just having a brief chat, and I think it was Gary and Paul that was saying about one of my old coaches that used to coach us at Sunderland, and I was laughing with them, saying that, oh God, he was the one that actually coaches the Cruyff turn. Everybody knows what that is, don't you? And I'm not very skillful, so for me to be able to do a Cruyff turn was that sticks out in my mind. But yeah, I think my coaches, my teachers, they're the ones that really stick out, because they teach you the basics of whatever sport and also life in general. I think for me, I've always tried to remain as humble as I possibly can, and that definitely comes from my early coaches at Sunderland, because where I'm from in the Northeast, we like to work hard, and no one's bigger than the next person. And I think that respect element as well, I think that's massive in life, not just in sport. And you don't actually know what's around the corner. So I think you guys are doing unbelievable in what you're doing. And I think it's important that even though you are coaching, you're actually coaching people a lot of things that they're going to take on for the rest of their life. And I think my coaches were very influential, just on the pitch, but also off it as well.
I know Chloe had a question, kind of thinking about sort of the early part of your career, as it were. Chloe, you happy? Do you want me to ask the question? You happy to jump in? What you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do it. It's fine.
No worries.
Come
okay,
on,
so,
Chloe, ask us.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm just looking. I think just basically for me, it's just about like the way football's progressed and things like that over the last few years. I've noticed a big change now. Like I buy FIFA every year, and last year was like the first one where I've seen women in it. So like to actually, for a young child, and like I've got children and like people that I coach now, like where that's massive for them to be able to like play a game as you. So it's just thinking about like, what do you think about like the way football's progressed, especially women's football over the last few years? And is there anything specific you'd like to see in the future, in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think obviously we got all our stuff done for FIFA, so they come in and they put all these cameras around you and they scan you. So I mean, I don't really play FIFA, but I know that a lot of the girls do. So for us, it was quite a big thing, because obviously you just associate FIFA with the lads. And but yeah, like you said, I think women's football probably in this country especially has gone on unbelievable over the last few years. I think the popularity of the sport and the opportunities that young girls have. If I think back to when I was 7, 8, to even be able to play in a women's team would be probably nigh on impossible because there wasn't that many. Whereas now girls who grew up loving football or like to watch football, it's a possibility now because there's so many clubs getting involved, and not even just at a professional level, even at grassroots football, just being able to go and play with your friends and actually learn new skills just shows how much the game has kind of grown over the last few years. And for me, going forward over the next few years, I think obviously lockdown hasn't really helped in terms of the growth of the game because we aren't able to get on the grass and produce more young footballers as much as we like to. But ultimately, at the professional level, we want to be trying to get as many people to watch the games as possible. I think it is possible with the right advertising, the right scheduling to be able to, for fans to be able to come and see men and women's football on the same weekend. I think that for players, it makes it more enjoyable. And obviously, I think when you look lower down and making sure that the pathway is clear for people to come and play football. But if people don't want to play that professionally and just want to play for enjoyment or keeping fit, I think to make sure that we have opportunities for people to go and do that. And you can kind of see a lot of clubs trying to do that. And I think it's just about kind of grow that over the next few years as much as we can.
Are there any life lessons that kind of carried you through that period of your life, or anything that you feel has really kind of shaped or influenced who you are today in terms of a player or on a personal level?
I think in terms of like life lessons, I think for me, if I look back on like how I got here today, I think the type of person that I am a worrier. I do worry about a lot of things, and probably a lot of it is about what people's perception is of me and how they perceive me. And looking back now, I think obviously as the game was growing, I think I was always worried about what people thought of what I was like as a footballer, what I was like as a person. And I end up losing a lot of energy by worrying and not really taking control of what I can do. And I think over the last few years, obviously, as the pressure of the game and the pressures of my responsibilities have got a lot higher, it was about trying to make sure I had as much energy as I possibly can to be the best footballer, be the best player on the pitch, and be able to do my job and keep my name on the team sheet for both Man City and England, and be confident in my ability in terms of knowing what I am. So the biggest lesson I've learned is that you've got to just control what you can control. And for me, is how I am around people, being myself, making sure that I'm true to what I really believe in. And ultimately, as a footballer, all you can do is work hard, ask questions to improve, and never be afraid to ask how you can get better and what you can work on. But also, don't be afraid to kind of give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back as well, I think. And I'm not saying it's easy to get at that point, because it's not. I'm 32 now, and it's probably taken us I was 30, 31 to actually realise, okay, there's more to life than football, but because I love it so much, it is my life. But yeah, I think that for me, in terms of life lessons, to kind of not worry about what other people are thinking of you and kind of control how you are as a person and what you want to do and what you want to aim for.
What are some of the barriers you've overcome on your journey?
I think probably the biggest one was probably people accepting that women or girls can play football. I think I always refer back to my first team in the primary school, and my first ever game I actually started, and I think the lad that I was starting ahead of, I think his parents had definitely something to say, the fact that a girl was playing instead of him. And I always remember my mum telling us this after, and I'm just like, well, I've just scored 2 goals, we've just won. So what, has she got a problem? Because I was just trying to like prove myself that I was actually, no matter if I was a girl, I could still play football, and I actually earned my spot on the team. So yeah, I think obviously that has been probably an issue for this sport for a long time, is the acceptance that women can actually play football. And we're at a level now where I feel as though everybody is accepting it's a sport and people are giving the players respects. But like I said, it has been a bit tough over the last few years in terms of trying to get that acceptance. But I think for me and my mentality is kind of like, right, okay, well, I'm just going to prove you wrong anyway. So it gives me more motivation to kind of give them people who are saying whatever they want to say, that actually I've got every right to be playing the sport as anybody else.
Yeah, so I was wondering what you'd consider to be your proudest sporting moment and why.
Oh, that's a tough one, that,
It's a big one, right?
It is a big one, I think. I've been fortunate enough to have had some unbelievable moments, I think. One that stands out massively is probably Olympics 2012. I think scoring the winner against Brazil at Wembley in front of 70,000 people was pretty special. I think nobody ever expected us to firstly get that many people in Wembley Stadium, and the fact that it was a home Olympics was absolutely unreal. I'm trying to think now. Obviously, England captaincy, never expected that either. So to be able to still be captain 6 years on is just one of the proudest moments. I think you work so hard, and when you actually get rewarded with something like that and something prestigious, and not many people get a chance to do it, it's amazing. But like I said, like winning, like what I'm about is trying to win and win trophies and medals, and having the opportunity to lift a trophy for Man City and Arsenal has been unbelievable. And yeah, and a little visit to the Queen was quite good as well, to get the MBE at the Palace. So that was a bit of a day out to the family. My grandma absolutely loved it. So yeah, there's been some amazing moments, and I couldn't really just pick one. So sorry if I've been going on a little bit.
Not bad.
I like that the MBE is just thrown in there as a just a small moment.
I forget about it sometimes. I'm just like, yeah, like it's after my name, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh yeah, we did actually go Buckingham Palace. So yeah, it was I think that's, and I actually never nearly got it as well, guys. So apparently they send a letter out to your house, but I'd moved house, so I hadn't got this letter, and they phoned the club and were like, does Steph actually want this MBE? She's got half an hour to accept it. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad. So I eventually got it anyway, just in time.
Steph, I'd be interested to find out how you kind of manage that in terms of, you know, trying to recognize the things that you're good at. How did you kind of go about that process and start to believe in yourself in terms of, you know, your own ability?
You know what? I'm like probably the worst person for taking compliments, and like if you said anything, I'd like don't really like talking about myself. I just kind of just try and change the subject, and it just makes us feel a little bit awkward and stuff when people are like speaking or saying well done and stuff. I'd be like, oh, it's all right, it doesn't matter, it's just the norm kind of thing. But I think I did a lot of work with a psychologist in England when I first got given the captaincy, and I think it's a bit of a taboo subject. I think people obviously sometimes think, oh, psychologist, there must be something wrong. Well, actually, you can use it in a way to kind of make yourself better and to make yourself improve. And for me, it was kind of to recognise what I was good at on the pitch, but also develop stuff off the pitch. I was a captain at a young age, and for me to give myself on the pat on the back, I had to actually recognise what I was good at, and I had to speak, and I had to have a lot of conversations to be able to do that, because in my head all I was Steph who plays football for Man City in England. That was it. And yeah, I think it does take a lot of time, and I think I always try and balance it out with kind of like, right, okay, well, yeah, I'm good at this, but this is what I want to work on next. And that's how I try and remain focused, to try and keep my feet on the floor. But ultimately, I think it's okay to give yourself a little bit of a well done at the end of the day, whether it's when you're coaching, or whether you've done something good with the family or your friends, or you've made someone happy. I think it's sometimes nice to reflect back, and it gives you confidence for the next thing as well.
So I coach my own junior team outside of work, and I have one girl and she's surrounded by boys because the local area that I live in just does not have interest in girls football. So she has to put up with all the boys in the team. And she absolutely idolises you, Steph, as well as Lucy Bronze, because you're both from the Northeast. So what advice could you sort of give her to help her keep going on the path she's currently on, and to maybe get to the same position that you are in Monday?
I think for me, I think she just got to make sure that she keeps enjoying her football. I think regardless if you're playing with girls or boys, I think for me, playing against the lads when I was younger, it gave us more of a challenge, and it actually made us want to win even more because there were boys. So I think to be able to get to a position, I think you can only do what you can do, which is work hard and keep learning and learn off the lads, but also be competitive with them. And hopefully there's a lot more opportunities in her area going forward. But I think just to make sure that you're using every opportunity you have now to try and get better every single day.
Is there any key mottos or phrases or anything that you live by that stands out, that helps to motivate you, that you think is of any value, especially in sports?
I think I've probably learned over the last few years, especially safety is a problem. I think it just needs sorting out straight away. I think I used to come home, dwell on it and think, oh, I should have done that. Whereas I think the older I've got and the less time that we have and the busy schedule that we do have, it just needs kind of nipping in the bud. So I wouldn't say a motto, but my own one is just get shit done. Sorry for swearing, but I think it's just like, that's my type of mindset. It's like, no messing around, whatever needs doing, whether it's a training session, whether it needs to be a conversation, a difficult one, just get it done. And for me, I think you feel so much better coming home knowing that even though there might be still stuff that needs doing, you've done enough for today to kind of make sure that tomorrow is better.
What would be kind of the one bit of advice or the one thing that you'd say to everybody on the call?
I think for me would be, don't be scared to ask questions of who you're working with, and to better yourself and to always look to improve. I think I was fortunate enough to work with a lot of coaches, and I try to drain as much information as I possibly could out of them to make sure I was the best player that I could be. And I might probably look a little bit busy, but in the long run, I think it was just like, right, okay, I just want to show my intentions to be the best player that I could be. And that's how I kind of relate to you guys. I've worked with these coaches that have probably done the same around other coaches. They've probably went, right, okay, well, who can I actually lean on to kind of get all that guidance and new ideas and to help me be a better coach. So yeah, I think for me, it's just continually just ask questions, always reflect on yourself, but always look to improve as well.
Yeah, so I don't want to end your career too soon or anything, because I think you're killing it. But just thinking about the future, obviously, like a lot of people do look up to you and things like that. And so for me, it's just interesting to know. And like, once your career is over, do you have any plans for the future to stay involved with football, or to like go into management or coaching or anything?
I'd love to be involved in football one way or the other. What that might be, I actually don't know at the minute. I'm trying to work that out myself, but I'm currently doing my B license at the moment, so I'm just waiting to get assessed. So I think in my head, I'm kind of just trying to cover as much as I can, just to kind of, when that moment happens, I've got every opportunity to kind of narrow down what I want to do. And yeah, football has been my life and it will still continue to be my life. I think I'd love to be able to do something within the club at Man City, whether that's around the first team or some sort of ambassador role to kind of promote women's football and also the club. But all the media stuff kind of really interests us as well. I've had amazing opportunities to be on Sky and BT and analyse games, and I watch any football in the house. So for me, that seems like a bit of a perfect job, just being able to sit in a nice warm room and watch the best football in the country. So I mean, hopefully I'll get a lot of opportunities, but at this moment in time, I think I'm trying to plan a lot of stuff in terms of just trying to broaden my horizons, and just kind of, when the moment comes, which hopefully is not for a few years yet, I'm actually a little bit closer to what I want to do.
No, sorry, thank you.
Just one final question, if that's okay, just to kind of pull together some of the conversation today. I know you've spoken quite a lot in the past about your kind of intention to leave a legacy for other girls in terms of getting into football when they're younger. What do you think we could kind of use as a piece of advice or guidance to our aspiring coaches on today's call to sort of inspire more girls to get involved in not just football but sport in general?
Yeah, I think for me, the career that I've been on, and a lot of my teammates have been on the same, is just anything is possible and everything's changing all the time, and there's going to be so many opportunities that once they come, you've just got to take it and be ready to take it, and be ready to take it whenever. It might come tomorrow, it might come next month, it might come next year. The way that the world is, especially at the moment, we actually don't really know what's going to happen. So I think for me, it's just working hard every single day to improve yourself, better yourself, and keep being you, and realizing what you are and what strengths you do have at this moment in time. And look, guys, you're all young, and you're all aspiring to be better coaches and to be able to be involved in whatever football club or whatever community going forward. I think just have that bit of belief in yourself that it's possible to do that, and just to keep enjoying what you do, because when you're out there on the grass coaching or with people, that's the best time.
Thank you again so much, Steph. It's been absolutely amazing to have you with us. Unfortunately, you know, we have run out of time. I think we could probably sit here all day and chat to you, and, you know, hear more about, you know, what you've done so far and what you want to do in the future. But we really appreciate you giving up your time today. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.